I think we're live. I'm just gonna ramble for a minute until I confirm that. Oh wow, it's working on Zap.stream. It looks like. Hell yeah.
Is this the first time?
No, I've done it before. I've done it before way back. I used to stream once in a while on there. Like one of my streams, have you ever heard of Orange Mart?
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't there a website for that?
Well, Orange Mart is it's a custom server in uh what do you call it? In the game Rust. I don't know if you've ever played Rust.
Okay. Yeah, I know it. It's on my list of like you should download this when it gets cheap enough, and then I never do.
So I think the problem I was having with Zap.stream is I didn't have my wallet loaded up on there because they charge you 5 sats a minute to stream, which is I think was the problem. I thought I did have my wallet hooked up, but looks like I didn't.
I can't wait for that to be a real thing of like paying for things per minute, getting paid per minute. I love that idea.
Yeah.
This last person I worked with, it's taken them like a month to get me loaded into a payment system because it's like so complex. They're all so complex. And then by the time that you receive your money, like it just truly doesn't reflect how life operates, how people deliver value and receive value back. To be able to use a fun little podcast thing and have that work and reflect how true humans like send out and receive value. It's hilarious and sad at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's all these weird distortions of the market that don't make a whole lot of sense. Like I mean that's why I like the value for value side of content creation and have chosen to take the bugle that way, is because I think that is a more honest way to go about things, a little bit more straightforward. I think the incentives are a little bit clearer. It doesn't fix everything. Like I don't think anything ever fixes everything. I think it's the audience's job to kind of determine whether the content they're consuming is actually serving them or not. And I think most people have been accustomed to just being fed dog shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, let me do like an intro for you. So you're Jeremy Poley. You launched 21 Media.
Yep.
We went over this in the last stream. You're not copying Jack Mallers. Jack Mallers copied you.
We have dates, timestamps.
But yeah, we're partnering with you to do this awesome event in Vegas. And part of this event is like really kicking off the launch of your media company. I know you're going to be doing some content before that happens. But yeah, can you talk a little bit? You are Jewish, ethically.
I really wanted to skip over the Bitcoin stuff. Now we're to the meat.
So I mean, this is part of the reason why I think you're going to be successful is you are Jewish. As we know, the Jews are very good at media, and talking about like dog shit content that's out there, like we have to value the Jews in order to have good content. But yeah, anyways, what are you about? What are you trying to do? What's going on here?
I just want to say I want to thank the Jew Telegram group, because you shoot a message in there, you let the tribe know your idea, and then they kind of help make it happen. So thank you to the Jew Telegram group.
Is there a Jewish cabal on Telegram controlling Bitcoin?
Oh, it's not just Bitcoin. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been invited to that yet.
You have to prove that. I don't want to be mean to. You know what? Anytime that I think about saying something wrong, I think about June 5th. And I think that he has this switch that not only allows him to say the thing, but immediately recognizes it as a thing he should be saying. So I almost wonder if he has the reverse of what I have, where he thinks of like, maybe I should say this nice thing. No. And then he just completely leans into, pointing out that somebody's a woman and never going to make it, probably because they're gay. Just a little respect for June Seth.
Yeah.
Anyway. If it's worth knowing, why don't we go all the way back? How about that? When I first got into Bitcoin, it was the end days, the twilight days of Bitcoin Uncensored. And so Krista Rose and June Seth was, for me, I just moved to Philadelphia, lost most of my clients from Colorado in the move. And so I would mow my mother-in-law's lawn, listening to podcasts with June Seth and Krista Rose. And then I'd also listen to Trace Mayer, was still going at that time. And I think at that point, Andreas was already done. But you can still listen to his stuff. So I understand the 40 hours per week and going back to a lonely guy without much work or employment in Philadelphia with all these scary people. He cared. That guy cared about getting 40 hours in. Where did we?
So why the hell did you move to Philadelphia from Colorado?
The woman.
Oh.
Yeah. I immediately was attracted to the Bitcoin Uncensored podcast. I understood immediately what they were talking about.
What do you mean? Like they were talking shit on how shitty Philadelphia was, or like?
No, women. Yeah. That was it was a whole thing. Bitcoin kind of has its phases of what's the socially wrong thing that can come into trend. And I think the Bitcoin Uncensored days, they were going hard at women. And it actually became kind of like popular. Like a lot of the podcasts I'd listen to or things I'd see were all very anti-woman. And then the meat thing started. What did that lead to?
Are they the ones responsible for why there's no women in Bitcoin?
I never put it that way or thought about it that way, but we might be onto something. That 2017 run really gave us a lot of the pillars that we have in Bitcoin today. And if you were a woman trying to get into Bitcoin, you were running into the Bitcoin Uncensored wall. Absolutely.
They were the original orange cells.
Dude, they totally were. and they would admit it. Two shirtless, half-naked guys in a Miami hotel room or whatever. Yeah. But when June Seth came out of the darkness and did a What Bitcoin Did episode that I recorded, and he wanted to pop his shirt off, mine immediately came off. I didn't have to touch it. It just slid right off. I couldn't be happier. That's like a lifetime achievement thing.
Well, we all know Peter's shirt didn't come off. That might be offensive.
It was a thing. We were trying to figure it out before we started recording. And Eric. Who's the Eric? Eric the economist. Eric the funny economist. Help me out here.
I didn't know there was a funny economist. Eric the funny economist.
Eric, he wrote a book, The Fifth Property.
Oh, Eric Yates.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was an economist.
That's how I saw it in my head. He was there. That was his first episode, I think, on any podcast ever. So he showed up early to catch the June Seth interview. And so before we hit record, the question of shirts came up. And June Seth's and mine and Eric's came right off.
Mm-hmm. Eric's just looking for a reason to take his shirt off. He's in pretty good shape. He takes his creatine.
That creatine Evan brought to the last live stream, that icy cherry, that was really good.
Was it really?
It was really good.
I've never in my life tasted good creatine. It always makes me, you gotta like, it's kind of like drinking vodka. You know what I mean? Like, I've never had good vodka in my life. You just put it down. The reason why you drink vodka is to get drunk. Like maybe if you're like a Russian and you're already kind of crazy, you like the vodka. But
I think it goes straight to, you know, like positive reinforcement where your brain, if you do it enough times, it just like does something automatically. Like basketball players at the free throw line, the entire point is to not think, to not target. You just teach every single piece of muscle in your arm to do the same thing over again. I think you put a glass of vodka on a table near a Russian, and it's the same thing as Stephen Curry at the free throw line.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, like, the Russians like to get the kids drinking vodka when they're young and take them to the sauna and sweat it all out. But yeah, so you used to work for Peter McCormick back before he quit being he retired from being a Bitcoin podcaster. Did you learn a lot about Bitcoin doing that? I bet that was interesting.
I did. It was honestly a really incredible experience because when you start down the rabbit hole, you're grabbing anything you can. You really are like 40 hours per week. No, you're doing you're making excuses just to get in the car and drive so that you can listen to the podcast. You're getting excuses to go mow the lawn so that you can listen to the podcast. And so I was listening to all these people who just had these incredible things to say, completely new ideas. And this was an opportunity where I got to talk to these people and, you know, grab dinner, get to know like the personal side, get to ask them questions. Like how many times are you listening to a podcast and a thought comes in your head and you're like, I wonder about this. I mean, now we've got AI to handle that. Just need to make AI for all the Bitcoin influencers. But to be able to meet and speak and interact, get things back from all these people, it was. I'm truly grateful for it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the percentage of Jewish podcast guests that Peter had was?
Low.
Would you ask all the guests if they were Jewish or not?
I didn't. There's this wonderful thing. You don't have to ask. You know. There's speaking of June Seth moments in your head where you immediately think of the wrong thing to say. I might be in a shopping mall. I don't. And you see somebody and you just want to go up to them and you say, "I'm Jewish too." Just from seeing it, you see him across. You see the nose. You see the hair. You see the smirk, the sparkle. Little bit of noodle stuck in the teeth.
You got some Judar going on.
Yeah. It's wonderful, but it's risky because I'm genetically Jewish. I don't have the social layer that true Jews kind of get put on top of them. So I've always just tried to be sensitive to it, sensitive to the Judar. And then you get that buzz, you get that rush. You want to go walk across to a complete stranger and say, "I'm Jewish too." But very low percentage. I'd under 5% for sure. I remember we had Laura Loomer on, and that's her name, right? I know Loomer is last name. It's Laura Loomer. Yeah. And we had the Jewish connection. There weren't many, and now you have me looking at 2 years of my life completely differently. I know here in Philadelphia, you have fundamentals on. You know him. I get a good dose of the Jew vibes. Yeah. And
Well,
I'm
how would you
realizing
do
I
it?
didn't.
How would you go up to a Jew and say, "I know you're Jewish"? Because would you say shalom? Would you go into it and go Baruch atah Adonai? Would you?
Not me. Again, I'm the genetic Jew. So I would be, language is an added layer, which I never really got. It was the question wasn't asking somebody if they were Jewish. The question is just how you let them know that you know. And you try and do it in this like I'm with you. Like don't take this wrong, because I'm with you. But
how would you do it though? Like what would be the cool way to do that? Like is there like a secret like handshake or signal or like?
I think they have that. But again, I'm a half elf. I don't know. I'm a night day walker. Yeah, I think that's actually what I am. So I don't have a lot of this stuff. Your guess is as good as mine. I have the opportunity to potentially infiltrate and get back to you on it. It comes through my mother and my grandmother. So I think I've heard that's important. Personally, my choice is just to say, maybe they're at the register, they're buying something, and you see the nose, and you walk over and you say, I'm Jewish too. That's my way.
You slip them a coupon.
Yeah. I see you have this coupon. This one's on me. You give them the second one.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. So you have a media background. So what were you doing before you got involved with Bitcoin? You said you moved across the country and you lost all your clients doing that. What were you doing before? Were you doing video media stuff before?
It was a mix of like film, video, commercial, and what's the phrase? Website building. Yeah. So kind of whatever the hot hand was. I'll go back even further. Go to film school in Denver. At the end of film school, what are you going to do with your life? There's not much work in Colorado. So I hate LA, or I hated LA. My perception of it. So I went to New York City, tried to find a job. Didn't have enough Jewish connections to make it in New York City. So my mom had a eBay store selling quilting fabric. And I was like, well, I can build a website for you. So I built a website, and it took off, and all of like the SEO rankings and everything. And we were doing really quite well. And it got to the point where I didn't really need to work outside of that job. And so just real quick, I just heard an audio thing pop up. Are you still hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. It's looking. I'm just fiddling with my audio. I don't know if I'm echoing.
Yeah.
Am I echoing?
Yeah.
You should have told me that.
I didn't want to just. You were so happy that you got Zap right working.
Zap.stream. How's that? Is that better now?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
This is turning into a long story. It wasn't meant to. House burned down along with our entire inventory. So I had to find a job. An old friend was making a movie with Kevin Bacon in Colorado. He went to NYU, came back, and he was like, hey, let's make a movie. And that put me back in the film industry and started working on commercials and stuff like that. And then, yeah. I'd go back and forth between like website building because I was already doing that. And then because the hot hand then turned into film, was going more with that because that was like more of where the passion was at. And then moved to Philadelphia, lose all of your contacts, lost most of my website clients. And I gained a neighborhood full of zombies who inject creatine and then slump over and end up in hot TV shows on HBO.
Yeah, so I mean, tell me about your wife. Like, how did she convince you to do this?
Her dad was dying.
Mm.
What would you do?
I don't know if I'd move to Philadelphia. Holy shit. I mean, she must be pretty special is what I'm trying to say. If she could convince you to I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of lunatics out in Denver, but Colorado's pretty.
Denver's great. Yeah. And it's a funny thing, like on the Northeast, you tell somebody you're from Denver and they're like, oh, oh, I'm so sorry. Like they act like you're freezing. And you can be in Denver in January and have like 72 degrees, sun out. You go for ice cream. That's not every day, and you get more snow. But the deal is that the altitude is so high, the sun comes around the next day and just melts everything. Whereas here in the Northeast, it just like builds and builds and builds as the winter goes on, and it gets dirty and hard. And they like, oh, I'm so sorry, you're from Denver. No, Denver's great.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I would apologize to people from there too, just because there's so many blue hairs. Feel bad for them, but
blue hairs, like Matt Corallo blue hairs.
I don't think he has blue hair. He was on the stream the other day at BTC++. He had normal hair, but yeah.
He's put away childish things.
Totally.
But yeah, so Philadelphia, I would say it did give me the opportunity to like turn inside, listen to Bitcoin podcasts. I did creatine. Yeah, I'm happy to be doing that. And that led to what Bitcoin did. And then that just, opened the door to just seeing the Bitcoin world, the Bitcoin media world, what's lacking, what's good, where's somewhere I can help out.
Hold on. I don't want this to be a bad experience for people, and I think it already has been. So it looks like I'm still echoing. What is going on here?
Oh, do you think that they're going to hear my echo?
Probably.
Ooh. Special effects. Even louder.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know how to fix this. Well, I'll just mute when I'm not talking. That should fix the issue. Anyways. Cool. Revolution won't have good UX. Podcasting's hard. Anybody that says it isn't sucks. I didn't invite Kaylee. Kaylee's out getting drunk right now, so she can't give me tips.
Is that even worth it at this point? What are you getting back from that?
No, I was getting back from what? I was talking about
the relationship with Kaylee. She's supposed to be helping you out.
Well, I mean, this is kind of like an impromptu thing that we didn't have scheduled. She does great. Now, Kaylee is a very important part of the team. She's taken our production side to whole next level. She produces the podcast, does everything behind the scenes that I don't know how to do. It's pretty great. I mean, but also having smoking hot blonde around, like, how can you complain about that? She provides a lot.
Even when she's coming in drunk at 4 p.m.
Well, she comes drunk before 4 p.m. But like, I don't know. There's different types of drunks. If you can do your job drunk, I won't complain. I personally can't. But yeah, I won't complain about that. I mean, I think that's part of what makes her so great. Like, she drives drunk.
There's something to that. There's there's Bitcoiners who go on podcasts that drive drunk. There's something to that. I don't know. A little bit of risk reward there. This is one of those moments where the June Seth side of my brain pops in and it says, this is good, go with it. Convince people, drive drunk. And then there's the other side that's like, lots of people die from that who aren't even the drunk ones. So, yeah, I don't know. Life would be interesting if you could just flip that switch in your brain and just go with it. I think everybody kind of has that switch. One guy I was working with, a British guy, he said that Brits, what they fear more than anything is like a social setting where people are uncomfortable, and then that makes them uncomfortable. And it gets so extreme that actually the thought that pops in their head is like the worst thing they could do at that moment. Like, what if I just like slapped a drink out of a person's hand or something like that? And what about life when you flip that switch? What's that like? It's tempting.
Well, I would suggest, like, for people, go try it. Go try driving drunk, but do it in a way that if you can't do it well, that you won't hurt anybody, and test it out before. But I think if you can drive drunk and you can drive well, like Kaylee, and maybe it has to do with her cocaine usage. If you
Oh,
can do it well,
counteracts.
yeah, counteracts. If you can do that well, that makes you an exceptional person, and like that's part of the reason why I'm like kind of iffy on these driving drunk laws, and like I kind of get why people support them, because the problem is so many people aren't good at doing it, but just because people aren't good at driving drunk doesn't mean that you have to punish the people that are. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Go ahead.
It comes down to personal responsibility. Like, not everything is for everybody. Like, not everybody out there should be a Bitcoin podcaster, even though I think everybody should at least try. Everybody should try to be a Bitcoin podcaster, see if they can do it. Not everybody can do all sorts of things. Not everybody can be a journalist. Not every like look at Joe Nakamoto. That guy sucks. Like, he can't be a journalist. Nor really should he, but he keeps on trying anyways. And I guess I have an ounce of respect for his effort that he puts in. But yeah, go try it out. See if you can do it or not.
There's value in volume, isn't there? Even if there's not quality, but there's volume, and there's so much of it that you can't get away from it. That's value, right? One bad podcast is worth two good. Wait, what's the other way around? One good podcast is worth two bad podcasts, and if you have 200, that's like a lot of good podcasts.
Yeah. I mean, the math kind of makes sense. Like, I would say like Matthew Cratter's podcast is like half a podcast for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So if you combine him, what's another bad podcast out there?
This goes back to value for value. Like, as you're listening to podcasts, the quality actually factors in. Like, this Matthew Cratter podcast is bringing in a solid 0.5 hours per hour. There's something to that, actually. We need a scale.
Yeah, podcast weight would be an interesting metric to start attaching to podcasts for sure. Matthew Cratter, he's at half points right now and trending downwards.
It's actually pretty similar to, you brought this up earlier, the cocaine trade. You're never getting 100%. You probably don't even want 100%. Who can take 100%? And now I'm wondering, if it's good enough, let's say it's, I don't know what that is. I'm going to say, based on the wire, that 70% is pretty good. If you say that can keep a drunk person driving well, does, a good Matthew Cratter podcast keep you driving if you're drunk? Is there something to this?
No. But anyways, let's get off this topic. So what's your goal with 21 Media? What are you trying to do here? Why do we need another media company?
It's I saw something today in a Telegram group. It was, breaking news. What was it today? I'll roll with a different one. Like, you see this breaking news. A Ghana official just said that a small province might be considering accepting Bitcoin for tax in 2028. And it's like, oh my gosh, at this point, the news is so weak. I can't take it. I can't bear it. And meanwhile, you go to any meetup, you have like a good, intimate Telegram group, and you're talking about things like discovering 300-yard long poles or cylinders under the pyramids or something like that. What's going on with all these lights in the sky? What is good health? How do I get more creatine? And this is stuff that we all tend to share a similar perspective on because we all went through the rabbit hole. And so this is some media where I hope the goal here is to bring news and conversation to people that's for Bitcoiners, as opposed to bringing you the latest Bitcoin headline of what the Ghana official said. We can talk about AI. We can talk about tariffs. We can talk about a number of things that might be tangential to what Bitcoin actually is. But as Bitcoiners, we've all kind of developed this same kind of perspective. And so instead of having to get your news from these other sources where it's some sort of Yahoo in a nice dress or something like that, or some guy who talks very proper English, you get to listen to a couple of Bitcoiners who are able to see what's going on, bring it over to you for some conversation, point some things out, and bring it to you with that Bitcoin perspective side. So the base of the 21 is 2 shows. One is a daily show, Monday through Friday. That's just 20 minutes long, just something for your driving to work or something like that, or something to flip on, I don't know, in the shower. That just gives you, some of the daily news that's going on. And then the other show is going to be a weekly show with your boy Fundamentals, our boy Fundamentals, where it's, of course, everybody talks about it. Everybody has an idea for it, a podcast about podcasts. So as podcasts have come in to be the new media, like actually good or better sources for news, for truth, than our old, Channel 7 news or Channel 20 news or whatever. They're actually like important. And so being able to every week go through and kind of let me and Fundamentals comb through the different various podcasts and catch what might be trending, or just what might be interesting, or what might be a hidden gem, and rate it as signal or noise. We move through the episode. We cover a few podcasts. We go into them. We'll get some special guests on. Like for an example, we were just talking today. Uncle Jack did an episode of the Danny Jones. I think it was the Danny Jones podcast with Callie Means. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Okay, so he did this like, I don't know, 3 months ago. No. He did this before Breedlove. It came out after Breedlove. But he did this back in December, in which case he went on with Callie Means, and he had said, so I did the Breedlove series of Jack. So I got to talk with Jack, and he had mentioned that he had just done this podcast, and that he knew Callie Means better than Callie Means knew herself. And like he went through, he found out everything he possibly could. He researched, he found out all these things about the parents, all these, very suspicious connections. And then on that podcast, he calls her out and like lays it down in front of, the whole world at that point. And now, reflecting back on that, that is absolutely something that should be talked about. That is absolutely something where, we could bring some attention to that, even though it's an older podcast. we could bring Jack on and talk about exactly what happened, because as we're talking about today, or as a lot of people are talking about today, Callie Means was elected, or not elected, was put in the position of, gosh, I hate position names, some sort of medical thing. And that went completely against what everybody thought RFK was going to do. There's all this drama around it. And yet here we have in history, like a part of the history books, this podcast just from 3 or 4 months ago, where we see like the real Callie, and to be able to talk about that, I think would be really cool. So that show is going to be, probably like three podcasts that we're able to go through every episode, for usually something that's trending, something that's going on, but at the same time being able to reflect on maybe some older things that just happen to be relevant again. And then the 21 is worth talking about. I've been around media organizations where the channel of direction on the content is rather singularly directed. And there's good and bad things about that. And so the 21 is actually 21 people. We've created like a brain trust of 21 people who come from all different backgrounds, specialize in all different things, are very kind of pleb heavy. So just people who you are active in a Telegram group. They don't have any sort of job in Bitcoin. They don't have a podcast yet. They're just good people who care about these things and share their thoughts a lot in Telegram and form relationships. That's also a part of the 21. And so these 21 people, we're going to tap into them for what is relevant, what is the theme that we should be talking about right now, the topics that we should be going over. And they'll keep us honest, and I think they'll also keep us well focused at the same time. So these two shows, the daily show and the weekly show, will have this kind of invisible hand behind it. That's not one person. It's 21. And so I think that's going to be a really nice way to feel good about the direction that the content's moving in.
So just to clarify what you're talking about, so you're going to have a board of directors essentially of 21 people to bring maximum entropy and hold you accountable.
That's it. That's the line. That's the log line to this movie. You nailed it.
So is there going to be like a website where people can see who these 21 people are?
So like, I want to leave it as anonymous for them as possible. I don't think there's any point in trying to filter this out. So we don't really have much in place. It's like, it's a Telegram group, whatever, try and play well. If there's somebody you're disagreeing with, why screenshot and put it out in other groups or whatever, like, not cool. But this is not something that you can really bottle up. So it'll be totally up to the people as far as them either like vocalizing something or saying something. It's too hard to stop. But we've got filters in there too. That's kind of the point of this. I don't see how filtering works in Bitcoin. But why should I be at the helm of this and you only listen to my voice? There's a lot more to be gained by having other people help focus things. Have you cast your vote? Are you a filter or not?
You're asking my opinion on the Opportune drama?
Yeah.
Well, I believe that the core devs should be able to have here's the thing about me is I really have trouble jumping on people's teams and joining the bandwagon. Like oftentimes, and the reason why is because I value using my brain and thinking
Mhm.
for myself, and I'm not insecure. I don't need to be a part of a group in order to feel comfortable with myself. But I also, oftentimes align with different groups because it's also not like a reaction coming from a place of like I need to reject everything and everybody in order to be kind of like I don't know, like to fit this idea of like, oh, I'm a Ronin uh journalist or whatever it is. Like, no, I'm me and I'm Richard Greaser. And like I believe the court house should have sex. And I find like most of it rather annoying, dominating the narratives right now. And it seems like, the debate um is it's confusing a lot of people. A lot of the people yelling the loudest out there aren't credentialed and are sharing their uncredentialed opinions. It has been interesting learning a little bit more about Bitcoin. That's something that happens for me every time. Every time there's like a useless and worthless debate where people are yelling at each other, I get to learn a little bit more about Bitcoin, a bit more, and trying to understand what they're yelling about. Um, But yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion other than the Cordev should be able to have sex. Like uh filters historically have been a thing, uh, and they continue to be a thing. And I don't know if in this circumstance, any of the proposals to kind of mitigate what's happening are really that productive. But yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, I know the conferences and the podcasters are extraordinarily excited right now because they're like, "Oh, wow, there's controversy, so now people are gonna wanna come and see the controversy." Like, it was the best thing that could have happened to, uh, Bitcoin plus plus. There was a lot of attention. I actually watched the live stream, a little bit.
What was your
What was
conclusion on that? I only got through like 10 minutes and I got yanked somewhere else.
The conclusion on the big debate with, like,
Yeah.
Luke and Mechanic,
Yeah.
I found it boring. I just thought it was boring. It's just like, okay, well, like, first of all, Jameson and Luke need to learn that you cannot wear shorts on stage. It's just a bad look, guys. It's a bad look to have your pasty legs hanging out on stage. Wear jeans, wear pants, wear a suit, look like an adult when you're on stage on a panel.
Well, I
For
think
that was
this ties into your real goal here, your real um, shine from the rooftops that devs should be able to have sex, right? And is naked legs or not a part of a dev kind of mating call? You got to get down to the skin at some point.
well,
Where
it, I
else? Where else are they going to show it other than on a stage at Bitcoin Plus Plus?
nobody's gonna want to have sex with you if you wear shorts on stage. End of story.
All right. Okay. So there's a stance. There's a stance. Do you have a stance on the actual debate itself, other than it being boring?
Yeah, I thought it was boring. I didn't really think it was that compelling. It was rehashing a lot of stuff that had already been argued about all over the place, which I'd already heard. And I mean, it just doesn't seem like either way there's going to be anything catastrophic that happens to Bitcoin. I think that's like one of the really compelling, or one of my takeaways from it is, there's like a lot of grandstanding. It feels like, kind of like a climate change type debate. And,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people that are all wound up right now. Podcast got them all wound up, and they're just missing the bigger picture of like, and I guess this is why I'm excited about the event that we're doing, uh, because like I think the point of all of this, I think the point of what I'm trying to do at the end of the day is I'm trying to feel good about myself. I'm trying to feel fulfilled. I want to have a good time. I want to have fun. And that's why I'm a big advocate for smoking cigarettes, because I think that helps. Uh, but you know, this is how it always works. This is how the media works. The media tries to put you in a state of fear constantly, because when you're afraid, you turn your brain off and you become reactionary. This is what I learned working in the media all these years.
Mm.
You need to figure out a way to combat that. You need to combat that some way. That's what listening to 40 HPW, that's what smoking cigarettes does. It helps you combat, it helps you use your brain and not come from a place of fear. And same with being secure in yourself and coming from a place of personal responsibility and self-respect. And like a lot of these guys have no self-respect whatsoever. The guys out there, there's this whole ecosystem, this industrial complex, the podcast conference industrial complex. They're all trying to benefit from the engagement based off this bullshit in any way possible. They're putting open mouth YouTube thumbnails.
It's true. It's shocking. It makes me feel good, actually. If it's that whole the Matrix thing, the very first Matrix, one of the biggest takeaways is people wouldn't feel okay if everything was perfect, if everything was good. To see that shock face, the O face on the YouTube thumbnail, it reminds me that, okay, this is real. That's right. This is, yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, like my intention with the event is to have a good time, because it should be fun. You know, the people in charge of the world right now, they don't want us having fun. They don't want us telling the truth. They don't want us hearing the truth.
They don't want you
They don't want
smoking
us
cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean, this is why they ban cigarettes, is because they don't want us. They don't want you to know the truth.
Are you gonna be smoking cigarettes there?
Yeah, I'll be smoking cigarettes.
How do you feel about the little area? So it seems like it's both a good thing and a bad thing that there's an area, designated area for it. Does that offend you, or is that a good thing?
You know, I've lived with segregation for a long time, and
you said segregation. Sorry, I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, the cigarette smokers they're banished. They're segregated from the rest of society. They're like, you're not welcome here. You have to go over to this little, crazy corner. And like I've learned through my life, in that is that when they segregate us out away from everybody else, that's where the signal is. And
Like
so
wheat from the
I'm
chaff.
fine with. I mean, I prefer that instead of having to go find the signal at the being banished to the smoking pit, wherever that is, that we could congregate everywhere. I kind of wish everybody wasn't retarded, but like, part of everybody, majority of people being retarded, what makes us so special is when you find the people that aren't, because you feel it's like when you're holding in a piss for a long time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're on a long car ride, you just pounded like 6 cold brew coffee cans and chain smoking cigarettes, and you're just like waiting for the next rest stop to pull over and piss. You just got to piss so bad, you don't know if you're gonna make it. You pull over and you run out of your car, run to the urinal, start pissing. Piss for like 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. You don't even know how much, like how you could do that. And maybe you're pissing a little bit slower than you want to, and it's just the stream just keeps on going and going. But that type of relief, that you feel as the piss is leaving your body, that's like the type of relief when you're sitting in the smoking pit and you're talking to somebody that's actually using their brain and isn't completely retarded. It's great. It's a great feeling.
I think we're gonna get that. I like that it's like a balcony. And in my mind, I'm picturing the meme of like that aristocratic guy on the balcony, like 1700s smirking guy. I think it's almost like a vampire movie, actually, is what it's from. Is that ringing any bells?
No.
No. I'll have to find it. But yeah, it's like he's like got like white luxuriant hair, and he's like smirking, and he's on a balcony. And I also think it's really fitting, since we're getting the plebs together, we're getting this lower class while people fight it out in political halls and corporate boardrooms, doing everything they can to get that NGU up, for all us lower class heathens to be able to get together and refocus the importance, what the important thing is on Bitcoin is freedom money, and to have our own balcony to do it and smoke cigarettes is pretty fitting for me. I really need to find this meme for you, because it's very fitting for this. But yeah, I don't know if I can find it in like the 5 seconds I input this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't consider myself part of the lower class, and I don't think the people attending will be either. It's just, like, I think it's nice, like, being an individual is self-respect, and I hope the listeners are hearing this. It's like, if something's fucked up, you don't have to go along with it. You can say, you can stick up your middle finger, you say, "Fuck you, Michael Saylor, you're a gay fed, and I'm gonna have a good time. I'm not gonna listen to you. Your opinion doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna have a good time. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna bowl, we're gonna play video games, smoke cigarettes, and hopefully raise some money for Samurai and the defense fund." Like that, I was listening to RHR right before this, and it sounds like we were really hopeful. I think a lot of us were really hopeful that the feds are going to drop the case, but it sounds like they're not. Even though they know that their case is bullshit, they're gonna carry along with it. And I think that's significantly more important than going to listen to the RNC light.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. There's something. It came up today in a Twitter space that when Saylor first hit the scene, everybody couldn't get enough. Everything that he was saying was just like absolute unicorn fart magic, and everybody was giving it a smell. And then at the first point where some people were kind of like, what was when he said that Bitcoin doesn't compete with the dollar. And then he took it a step further and said, I think that Bitcoin can actually strengthen the dollar. And we were all kind of like, we're all coming from the background of Bitcoin being, FU money. And so we didn't quite get that. But if you fast forward from that point to where we are now, there's completely a divide. We're seeing it where governments are using Bitcoin or planning to use Bitcoin to strengthen their currency. We see corporations strengthening their stock value with it. And the greatest thing in the world to them would be to leave it as it is, as this digital gold. And so it's getting quite sticky. I'm feeling it. I don't want to get too shinobi here and raise too many alarms, but I'm feeling the stickiness that Bitcoin's entering as we get this like global adoption. And things like the Samurai wallet case, the ability to stand up for self-custody, the ability to stand up for Bitcoin's transactional nature, running a node. These are the things that are integral to Bitcoin becoming the FU money that we all signed up for. But it really feels like there's a division right now. And it's important to call that out. It's important to take a step back, point, and say, hey, this is really going on. We need to all be aware of this and figure things out. By the way, here's the meme. Maybe you could do a better job explaining this to people just listening. Do you know this one?
Yeah, I've seen that meme. It's like a gay French guy looking really proud of and pompous in his suit and his long hair, standing on a ledge, looking off of it.
We get to be the flip side of that. where it's you know, Dick Greaser on the balcony smoking cigarettes with all the plebs. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I just think it's important to have fun with people that are like-minded. I think like the ruling out of like different classes and creating like the subdivides, like this is like a uh, kind of like a divide and conquer technique in a lot of ways of creating like the plebs versus the suit coiners. And like I think we can kind of come together from like all walks of lives. And I think what it comes down to is individuals that are intellectually honest and willing to use their brains, and that's the thing that I really value. I don't really care who you are. I'm pretty open to people from different perspectives, different values than me, as long as they don't contradict me. Or and what I mean by that is like, as long as there's not like a coercive factor in it of like, we're going to strip all your rights away because we don't like what you're saying, or we don't like what you think, or we don't like that you smoke cigarettes, like it, or we don't like that you're a Bitcoin podcast or whatever. Um, which is, why it's kind of interesting to see the conference speaking list, because it's a lot of people on that speaking list that are like that they're like, fuck you, I don't like who you are, and I'm going to use violence against you for it, which I'm not a huge fan of. These guys up there, many of them, represent the establishment, which is currently prosecuting the samurai guys, and I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm not saying not go to the conference. I think it's going to be a hell of a show. It's going to be a hell of an event. I'm going to be running around, snagging as many T-shirts as I can, doing the thing. But like, um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's important to have a good time, and like, I think our version of, or my version of having a good time is a little bit different than these guys. Like maybe they're going off and doing a lot of awful things to children behind the scenes, and that's their version of having a good time. My version of having a good time is hanging out with people and who listen to 40 hours of Bitcoin podcasts a week, and not having to like explain why I'm not a crazy person, I mean, I don't really care to do that anyways. I don't feel like I need to justify myself to anybody, uh, but that's what happens a lot when you walk around in average society, and you talk to these people that um have no idea what's going on in the world because they don't listen to 40 hours of Bitcoin podcasts a week. You start talking, they're like, whoa, 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 you sound crazy. The CIA didn't tell me through the TV that this is real, so you must be insane. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not into that, but I think we're gonna have a hell of a time. I think that's one of the keys. There's so many people that are so focused on living in fear. And like, what are you really afraid of? What are you afraid of? I don't know why everybody's so afraid all
I
the
think
time.
some people need it. Unfortunately, it's almost their version of joy is the ability to be scared about something, and unfortunately, that's the minority, and it's a vocal minority, and it spreads to people who don't need that fear. And yeah, we have to put up with it as a result.
I just don't get it. I mean, it's um this is a great thing about being a Bitcoin podcaster. And like I think a lot of people, they don't have enough pride in themselves for being a Bitcoin podcaster.
You think Bitcoin podcasters being short on pride?
Well, I mean, there's the guys with the ego, but we're the ones really driving the conversation that's determining the future. We're the ones out there documenting history. We're the ones talking about things that matter. Like nobody's going to go back and listen to these fiat podcasts in the future when they all could have been talking about Bitcoin this whole time, when they could all been talking about things that actually matter. These guys that were out there repeating the things that the CIA were talking about and wanting them to say, people aren't going to be thinking about that in the future. Like we're really the ones on the front lines, the tip of the spear, and I think we should have more confidence. I think we should have more confidence in who we are, and I'm not talking about like the breed loves of the world that maybe need a little bit of an ego check, but like I'm talking about the guys like Pleb Chain Radio, the guys like Ungovernable Misfits, the guys like um you know these guys that are just out there, Sly Goomba, the guys that are out there, they're putting in the work, fundamentals. They're putting in the work. They're spreading signal. They're spreading truth. They're disintermediating the CIA, RAND media. That's not a small task. That's not like a worthless thing. It's not like something that you should feel insecure about. It's not something that you should cringe a little bit when like a normie judges you for having a Bitcoin podcast. Is like, hey, this person that's judging me literally has no valid point because they're not a sentient human being, because they think all the decisions that they're making based on bad information makes them a sentient human being, when it's not. If the decisions you're making are based on incorrect decisions, the decisions you're making are incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you don't matter. So, yeah, I mean, I think we should all feel pretty good.
You made me think of we've got the meetup here in Philly is called the Bitcoin John, and the very first meetup was in this upstairs of a tavern in downtown, actually Old City, Philadelphia. So the building was, I don't know, over 200 years old. It made me feel like as I go in there, not knowing a single person, I just heard this thing over. I think it was Marty Bent posted something about it because he was the guest there. And I was like, cool. Oh, Marty Bent's coming to town. I showed up there. Nobody knew anybody. It's just a room full of people that I don't know, like feel like me. They don't necessarily look like me, but feel like me. We all got this message because we were all in the same channels of learning and discovery and truth, and we're all excited for this revolution of money. And to be in that old creaky wood planky loose nail room felt so much like what it must have felt like 300 years prior, before the turn of the revolution of the United States. And that's pretty cool. And I'm getting that same feeling. You mentioned the type of people, the type of conversations that we're going to have. You mentioned Ungovernable Misfits. It's been incredible to reach out and get support from just the right people, the right signal, the right groups. Q&A is going to be coming on and speaking from Ungovernable Misfits. It's going to be an atmosphere where I can't wait for the conversations that are happening there, because it's going to be just like when I started working at What Bitcoin Did, and for that first time got that feeling of what it felt like to actually interact with a podcast rather than just listen to it. This is just going to be one big podcast interaction of the same people in the same lane, in the same signal, and all smoking the same cigarettes. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, I want the event to feel like a breath of fresh air for people, because I know a lot of people are pretty discouraged. Like PodConf, the media apparatus in general, it's all about beating people down, making them feel bad. And like one of the ways that you feel good is you go and hang out with people that actually like build you up and are interesting and share your values. And And that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, that's why part of the reason why I go to Bitcoin Magazine's conference every year is you kind of experience that crossroad, like whether you're in in the conference or not. I don't really get that listening to the talks of all the people I've heard on podcasts, but like, you go and you hang out with people from all these walks of life. It's a good time. It is a really good time, and I think people should be, or I hope people are looking for the experience in general. But whether that's going to the event or not, uh, but yeah, I think the revolution really is like the revolution of your mind. Like that's something that I think we have to reclaim. Uh, it's we've been so indoctrinated with this collectivism. Like you look at like Mike Brock, for example,
I do. I
and
do.
yeah, I mean he's like the epitome of like what we're taught to be is good in this world, and um in culture and in schools. And like Mike Brock is lauded as like an exceptional human being in the world of fiat, and he's a pathetic human being. He doesn't believe cigarettes are good for you. He reads Ayn Rand, and he empathizes with the villains of her story, and it's just astounding to me. uh he's offended by the heroes of the story, the people that have dignity and self-respect, because they aren't just spoon-fed information from the CIA. um that's to him horrifying. And you know it's just it's tiresome. It wears on you hanging around these people all day. I mean, that's part of the reason why I started a media company, or started Bugle News, is because I was tired of it. I was tired of working in the media apparatus and, just being beaten down all day uh, by these other people that are really pathetic. And I I know a lot of people empathize with that, and they're feeling that too.
Well,
And
we have you to thank. I just want to say for everything that you just said about Mike Brock. We didn't know those things until you peeled it back. So I thought that was incredible work. I was sitting in a hotel room when I was listening to it, and I kind of thought, man, I want to do this. Do I have the ability to maybe like go after the credentials that you've worked to get? And it's just no, I can't do that. I just need to just mailbox, put the thing up, say I'm ready to receive, and listen to credentialed journalists like yourself. You really uncovered a lot of intel that night, and I appreciate that.
I mean, literally, all I did was I listened to a couple of his interviews, saw that he wasn't that creative or thoughtful about the things he was saying. He's just kind of a parrot. And then I started reading Atlas Shrugged. And like, I literally, I listened to like couples interviews. I was like, okay, he's an Ellsworth Toohey type character, and that's literally all he's going to say. He's just going to parrot things that Rand already pointed out. These archetypes in all of her stories of the villain, of these pathetic collectivist type people that um just absolutely hate individuality and hate self-esteem, self-respect. And he just made it so clear going into that. That's just what the whole conversation was about. It was just like pointing that out to him that he um and this is the thing that grinds my gears, is when people go on these big moral crusades and they say, join our team, because we're the ones that are correct. We're the ones that are the best. We're the saviors of whatever your woes are. And the cost of admittance in order to be saved by us, by our collective, is to turn off your brain and to join us and to say the things that we say, to use our language, to call these people names. And I just, I don't believe that, because I think the revolution, like the Bitcoin revolution, is not that you're using this piece of software and not using shit coins. and then you're using KYC exchanges, like that's not and buying this hardware wallet that podcaster told you to buy. That's not the revolution. The revolution is getting your shit together and feeling good about yourself and using technologies that help you do that. That's the revolution at the end of the day. If you're an individual and you're actually using your brain, you're probably going to come to different conclusions than me and Jeremy. We're going to have disagreements. That's just an inevitability because we're different people. You're going to see the world different. Your experiences were different. Like you might think that the women with giant ass tits are hot. I like small tits. I'm more of a face and ass guy. But like we can agree on a lot of things. We can come together. One of the things we can't disagree though, one thing that is an objective reality is that Lynn Alden is hot. And if you disagree with that, you're gay. And if you're gay, that's fine. I won't judge you for it. That's okay. But Lynn Alden is hot. It's one thing. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all going to come to different conclusions on things. Like maybe you're a Monero maximalist. I think that's kind of like a silly route to go. But I respect that a lot more than a lot of these other people that are out there grandstanding on their, like Corey, for example. I'll respect a Monero maxi that uses their brain over Corey, who's just trying to grift and market something. But I think that's what I think what this event about. This event's about having a good time. It's about interacting with people that are having a good time, that are not just like gripped with fear. Hopefully, aren't going to be grifting. I'm going to be selling stuff. I hope people buy it from me, but I'm not going to grift. I'm not going to tell you that my T-shirt decentralizes the network. Because it doesn't. I think it's a cool T-shirt. Hopefully you think it's a cool T-shirt. I'm not going to tell you that my cigarette like cures cancer or like, does something magical for you or I think nicotine is pretty good for you. I think tobacco is a very wonderful substance. I think it's important. I think it helps your brain work better. Helps me crank out news articles. Helps me do my work. Is absolutely vital for me to be able to do my job as a credentialed journalist. And I don't think I could do it without it. I think it makes my life better, significantly better. And if I ever get cancer, I'm just going to go listen to the Jack Cruz podcast, and then I'll get me cured. I'm not too worried about it, but like, it has led me to experience a lot of things in my life that probably won't give me cancer, turn me away from it. All the other stuff, like being a pussy and believing what the TV says, that gives you cancer. But I'm excited. I'm really excited about this event in Vegas. One of the things that I'm also excited about, the Noster event is happening after. I hope a lot of people that want to go to the Noster event come to both. I'm going to be running over to the Noster event, hanging out over there. I like the Noster people. The thing that's funny about the Noster people, so like one of the things that kind of sucks that I realized as we were doing this stream, Jeremy, is that Pleb Chain Radio is doing their stream at the same time. So I didn't want to detract from them. But yeah, that's a really good show if you want to figure out what's going on over on Noster's Pleb Chain Radio. I'll make sure in the future that I don't schedule streams when they're going. Maybe we'll try and compete with Matt and Marty head to head. But anyway, so the Noster people are cool because they're out there, they're trying something new and they're trying something different. And what they've done is they've created this ecosystem that uses this protocol, which I don't really understand. But you get this private key and then you get to log into all these apps and do all these cool things that have Bitcoin payments integrated into it. So from a content creator standpoint, from a Bitcoin podcaster standpoint, it's a really cool thing. And what you have is you have an active community that's engaged in sending Bitcoin transactions. Unlike many of the people on Twitter over here. So, I mean, it'd be funny to ask. So, like, every once in a while, you'll see one of these guys like tweet, "Remember Noster," or something like that. I think we should all ask him in the replies, when's the last time that you used Bitcoin?
Ooh. That's deep.
I'm sure a lot of them do, but it's just like, Twitter, you don't really have the opportunity to use Bitcoin. And the second that they allow you to integrate Bitcoin, of course, it's going to be KYC'd. You're going to be plugged into the machine. You're going to be engaging in actions that are inherently anti-individualist and subservient to, some pretty terrible people.
So it's a good crowd, you're saying. And that's one of the things I kind of like. Depending on if you're listening and going to the conference, maybe you're at the point where you're already trying to figure out how your nights will stack. I like that we have a well compartmentalized event here, 7 to 11, and 11 is doors, so it'll be over before that. The ability to see even Wednesday night already, there's a lot of like after events that either start late. I see some starting at 10. There's others that start at the same time at 7 and they run to like 3 a.m. So it's something where I like the ability that we have to be able to have some fun in the way that we want to have fun, and then run on out and keep having fun with other people like the Noster people. I've been yelled at for saying Noster instead of Noster, and I think it's actually starting to work.
I say Noster, but yeah, I mean, they're doing cool stuff over there, and I'm excited about their event too. It's their open mic's going to be doing a live stream with Toonster, and this guy's running around trying to make products or services for musicians to be able to accept Bitcoin. And I think that's really cool, and I think that's really important. And that's kind of what getting wrapped up in the PodConf narratives takes away from, when you're sitting there thinking about all the macro stuff, and if the dollar's going to collapse tomorrow, and trying to figure out what tariffs are if they don't impact you in your daily life or job, and spinning in circles over whatever the new trend is, and getting excited about the next breaking tweet that you see on the timeline about this company buying Bitcoin and this country buying Bitcoin, or whatever else. It all detracts from what's really exciting, which is like providing value into the world and being able to utilize Bitcoin. And I think those are the types of events I want to be at. Those are the types of people I want to hang out with. Those are the types of people I want to engage with and support, or the people that are like just not just like NPCs. And there definitely are Bitcoin NPCs, and like, don't be a Bitcoin NPC. Use your brain. Quit getting wrapped up in the fear. Quit getting angry all the time. And think through things a little bit more clearly, and hang out with good people and have a good time. And, like, Shinobi had this tweet, and he said that the ones that win have a good time. Or sorry, the ones that win are the ones having the most fun. And so he was just parodying something I told him. But like, I think that's the case. Like, let's have a fucking great time in Vegas. And let's fucking stick our middle fingers up to PodConf. And let's actually like, I'm excited to smoke cigarettes with people and hang out. I always love doing that. I don't think very many people have had the opportunity to do that with me. Fundamentals and Shatterack. I've never hung out with you, Jeremy. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully, we'll be able to hang out outside the event too, because I know we're both going to be pretty busy at it.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get at least one game of bowling in. We're going to be pretty busy, but that's the goal I'm going after. I think that'll be just really cool to bowl with some friends and to bowl around people maybe I don't know yet. And that's just like, that's one of those things where when I got to know what the venue was that we were going to work with, and they told us that there was free bowling, like no shoe rental or whatever, you just go, you do it. In my mind, I immediately envisioned this kind of like hanging out, and those are the kind of atmospheres where I do best. Talking to other people, hanging out with other people, maybe people I don't know very well, or meeting new people. I'm less of the here's an empty room and a drink in your hand and just go talk to somebody kind of a thing. I tend to like hoard onto anybody that I know. But if I'm in an atmosphere where there's kind of like insanity going on around me, I'm already engaging in this fun activity and it's with other people. That's exactly where had I never talked to you in my life, but you were there, I would have loved to have bowled with you. And maybe we'll bowl together still.
Yeah, so that's something that's good to clarify. So anybody look at the tickets, both the GA and the VIP tickets have bowling included. So you'll be able to bowl without having to pay an arm and leg extra. So I mean, I think that's a pretty good deal. If you're going out there and you're playing a couple games of bowling, you're probably paying $40 anyways. And you said you're not going to have to rent shoes, which is kind of a cool caveat.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it all comes down to atmosphere and who's there. You're talking about NPCs you don't want to be around. I think they're going to be weeded out. You just look at our marketing. I think there's a lot of people who are going to look at and be like, either I don't get this or this is stupid, which is just because they don't get it. And so that'll be weeded out. And then immediately it's like that memory I was telling you about walking into the very first Bitcoin John here in Philly. Just a room of people who just, all got there because of the same groove that you're in. And so yeah, to be able to do that in this kind of environment, I'm really excited about that. Like I really like the stuff we have going on the stage, and there's still more that's being announced next week. That's like, to me, insane. Again, going back to things that meant a lot to me when I first got into Bitcoin. But I'm really glad that we have that, and it's incredible. And it's going to really set the tone for the ideological aspect. That's the wrong word, but it'll set the tone, and then it'll be fun with the trivia and the wrestling, and then it'll mean something because of think of 1,000 people being able to get together and pool some resources for the fight that is going on outside the ridiculous samurai wallet trial they're able to stand for. So yes, that's all happening. But at the end of the day, just to be able to kick it with some people that either you already know and you don't see enough of, or maybe you've talked to them online and you've never met them in person, or just be in the right room, hanging out and getting to meet some people who, like that revolutionary room upstairs, just you all followed the same white rabbit and ended up here.
Totally. It's going to be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with everybody who listens to the podcast. And I think there's going to be a lot going on. I'm excited for the announcement. So when's the announcement? This is the announcement of the announcement.
Yeah. We're announcing that we will be announcing multiple things next week, but Monday and Tuesday will be, Monday and Tuesday. We'll clarify some things after that, but Monday and Tuesday are the days I'm really looking forward to.
Very cool. Well, I think we should wrap up the stream, but before we do, I kind of want to try something new with you. So I just noticed on Twitter that Shinobi is trending.
Yeah, when you brought up his tweet, I thought you were talking about the one. I think he said it yesterday about like I hate Bitcoiners or something like that.
He said Bitcoiners are trash.
Yeah. Is this what you wanted to bring up? Oh, okay. I see. You're showing it.
No, I just want to go through the trending tweets and do some commentary on it real quick.
Okay. Oh my gosh, what a glorious idiot. Oh man.
I love Shinobi. I really hope he gets a D++. I'm really rooting for him on that one. Like, in all seriousness, D, if you see this tweet, this guy's over 6 foot. He's not fat. He's holding two. I don't know what type of guns these are. They kind of look like fake guns to me. But they're cool. He's a guy that has guns. He cares about his privacy. He knows a little bit about Bitcoin. D, what are you doing? Date Shinobi. What the hell? What are you waiting for?
Now I see the reason for this podcast. Oh wow, this is great. I'm all about cricket protein burgers and Shinobi. Shinobi was really really wanted to go to the Democratic convention because Bitcoin Magazine was just, kind of naturally leaning into the Republican side so much. And this is exactly how I imagine the girls were that he was running into. To say, not out of hate or spite, I'm not on either side of the debate there, but these are the girls who I'm sure were rocking out. So I'm kind of with this post. I don't know. Are we giving grades out? Because I would give this an A.
Yeah, we can give grades out. I give Shinobi's post, so let's get a grade on his. So Shinobi, I'd give that an A+.
A+. Also, just because I know him and love him to death. A+.
Justin Bachelor's, I think it's pretty funny. I think this is in response. Justin got a little bit butthurt because Shinobi said Bitcoiners are trash. I think that's in response, but I think it's pretty funny.
The picture is what nails it. He found the right picture.
Now the real question is, what do you think? Would Shinobi find this woman hot?
After his third Modelo, I think so.
Yeah, if she liked Bitcoin, I think Shinobi would be into her.
Actually, yeah, that is the prerequisite.
I'm just going to talk about I'm going to skip over the tweets that are talking about the other Shinobi and just talk about Bitcoin Magazine Shinobi. But Mike Germano says Shinobi might just be Bitcoin's Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think?
Not Kanye. Boy, yeah. Trying to think here. That's the wrong street to go down when you're drawing comparisons to rock stars, musicians. What is he?
I also think that's a bad comparison.
Maybe Harry Black Flag? What Black Flag singer?
I like Black Flag. I don't know what his singer's name is.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know who Black Flag was. I knew who the singer was first. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. He was in so many movies in the 90s where he was a really bad actor. Why, when I hit... this can't be right. Harry... All right, pass on it.
Yeah, I don't have a good comparison to what Shinobi is.
Henry Rollins. Wasn't he the singer of Black Flag?
I have no idea who the singer of Black Flag was.
Yeah, Henry Rollins. Anyway, moving on. I'd give Henry Rollins over Kanye.
Yeah, I would say C- for Mike Germano. Go back to the drawing board on that comparison. Uh, Instagibbs. Here we go. Bitcoin is both a network and an asset. Shinobi is clearly referring to the network. Please touch grass, everybody. Yeah, what's going on with Parker Lewis this week? It looks like he's got a little bit of derangement syndrome of some sort.
He's Parker Lewis. He's right on point. I've never seen him be more Parker Lewis than he is right now. Actually, that is the most reliable person to be himself. I greatly respect that, by the way. I don't think this is not Parker Lewis changing. This is just the context that you're bringing to him changing.
All right, let me play the clip that so Mark RT Minko, I think he works at, he's a co-founder of Ocean. So
but I think that uses of arbitrary data on Bitcoin, non-financial use cases, can be just as powerful, if not more powerful in some cases, than the financial use of Bitcoin. And I don't think it's our place to dictate for all of the future, for all of the people who might come to Bitcoin later on, to say all of that is not allowed. You're not allowed to do that.
So what Shinobi's talking about, and this is kind of perspective of some of these guys that worked in the media, is they see inscriptions as being a very powerful way to store data, and I agree with that. You know, for long term, like you put something important, like you put something for like Julian Assange published, and you take that and you inscribe it so it doesn't get deleted by the deep state, by Hillary Clinton. It seems like a weird one to kind of be cherry picking, and you know.
Well, that's like how arguing works. Is you find, there's a great example of it earlier today somewhere, but you find some ground where you can pin something down, and then you win that little argument. And by like pointing at it, you say, okay, I won everything, when that little thing that you pinned down isn't even necessarily something that they're bringing into play. You brought it in yourself because you can associate it with the other person, and then you pick on that and you win it. And that's what a lot of this has come to. Shinobi, why he talks about his JPEGs is because he doesn't give a crap about JPEGs. And so he thinks it's funny that people try and win on that ground. Like that's the ground they can win on with him. So I respect that he goes up, another level, and then starts to act like he does actually care about JPEGs. So respect that. Nice to have Instagibbs kind of clarify this. That's kind of the boring approach that I take, which is a straight C, a cool C for Instagibbs. You gave it a heart? Is a C good enough for a heart?
I give him a B plus. I think touching grass is always a good advice. Go take your shoes off, go stand in the grass, go smoke a cigarette. Quit getting upset at it, literally every little thing, is my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I guess Parker Lewis wants to issue some purity tests to the core devs on their thinking. It looks like, is that a good idea? I don't know. It seems like we've gotten off the initial conversation, which was over whether or not core devs should be having sex, and now we're issuing them a whole slew of other types of purity tests. Do they think about this? Do they think it's powerful to inscribe arbitrary data into blockchains?
Are you asking me the question, or you're just putting it out into the?
It was kind of rhetorical, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're welcome to respond to it.
I didn't even know how to respond to that. I'm really sympathetic towards the issue of sex, and I just started picturing if you add that much rigidity to the system, okay, go on this date, go to this restaurant, sit them down, say this, ask this question. It's like you end up on the dating show for retards, which these poor people, they try and learn. They have these meetings with like teachers of how you should date, and it gets so rigid that they get all like flummoxed. And this is what we're doing to our Bitcoin devs. I think people are being a little too rigid, and they're trying to act like they're being rigid about op return or inscriptions, and in reality we're just causing a lot of sterile dates with our devs.
Yeah, imagine if you walked into a Tinder date with as much rigidity on the with purity tests as people are dedicating towards the core devs. And I don't think the girl would like it very much. You know what I mean? I think this is why all these guys are orange shells in general.
I mean, another way I remember hearing, looking at the whole like conservative liberal thing is a different glass to look through. Is there's people who are more concerned with limitations, and then other people who are more concerned with the ability to do things. And yeah, I mean, Shinobi's definitely on the latter side. When he talks about the possibilities, we don't even know the possibilities, and they could be greater. He's definitely exploring that freedom aspect. Take that to a date. Do you want somebody who's willing to explore where things can go, or do you want somebody who is going to be limited to not doing these 20 things, or you have to do these 20 things? That might be an interesting show. Maybe this is the new ground we need to break to make some progress through this circling conversation. Is dating show based on filtering standards, and we go both routes. The one with extra filters, and the one with removing the op return of dating limitations.
Well, I've been trying to pitch people on doing The Bachelor, but for Shinobi. I think that'd be pretty fun. I just cut the share screen because the whole feed was just, the reason why Shinobi is trending on Twitter, 3,645 posts, is because Shinobi's tweeting so much. He's just sitting there and tweeting all day, and then Justin Bachelor is getting upset at it and just tweeting back. And between Justin Bachelor and Shinobi, and then Ron Palmer a little bit too, that the three of them have got Shinobi trending on Twitter.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, I'm not going to make a judgment call on it. It's just that the reality of what's going on is that Justin Bachelor's tweeting so many times about Shinobi that it's got him trending on Twitter. But Shinobi is also tweeting quite a bit, getting himself trending. Like, unless D++ has him like blocked and muted, she's just not going to be able to ignore Shinobi. He's everywhere.
Oh, I see where you're coming from. Interesting.
So yeah, other than our event we got going on, what do you got going on in Vegas? I guess we'll end the stream with this. What else you got going on out there?
I can't wait for some Fogo de Chao. That's going to be something where everybody kind of involved in our party is able to like get together, meet up, and of course, like the atmosphere for this meal has traditionally been always incredible. Actually, it's where I met Shinobi 3 years ago. It was the first one. Yeah. So small world, but yeah. So there's that. What else is there? Noster with all of those guys. There's quite a few, and now I'm actually going to run into a problem that I'm leaving ones out that I actually care about. This is a good problem to have. We have a lot of good events going on, and you can go to Vegas. You can go to the Bitcoin conference for a number of things. If your priority is for the experience, then this is a good situation to be in. Being able to hop from our party to somewhere else, and the next night go somewhere with somebody that you met the night before, end up ultimately at a small little tavern doing karaoke with D++. I think that's the goal that More Than Shinobi have in mind.
Yeah, we're gonna have a pretty packed week. I know Tuesday we're going to be going to inscribing Vegas, the
Mhm.
um, event that Aaron Red Wings promoting, and I wouldn't say like I've never done an inscription before, um, or like really get it all, but I want to be on the ground. I want to be able to see what's going on there, experience the event. I want to make fun of Udi. I think that's always an important thing to do. I think part of being a good Bitcoiner is making fun of Udi. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like, and I did order some hats from PodConf, the Nordnals hats. Have you seen those?
Yeah, they're the red ones. Rob Hamilton was rocking that this weekend.
No, it says no ordinals on the hat.
Oh no, I thought you meant that was like the brand name. Oh, that okay. All right. There's gonna be a lot of people interested in that. You should send one to Justin Betchler, which
Yeah,
might be
Justin
back.
Bachelor, if you're out in Vegas, you come to the event, I'll give you my Nordnals hat. I'll bring it just for you. I'll even sign it for you.
That's
So,
fresh, man. Good font. Well done. Seriously.
yeah, PodConf is the bane of my existence. But at the same time, I can respect them when they're making good merch. Uh, I
It's
do think
meme warfare. That's what it's come down to. The between PodConf and the Bugle, uh, it's just a new era of meme warfare. It's what got Trump elected the first time. It's what's going on between nations all around the world, and here we are at the front of the PodConf Bugle meme warfare. And you have to give respect to the enemy when they do something well. Oh wow. That
the Peter Todd shirt. Yeah, I like the Peter Todd shirt a lot.
You gotta give that to Jack. Yeah. I want a beer now just from looking at that one PodConf shirt with like the Budweiser looking thing.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be exciting to see what you do with your company, Jeremy. I just wanted to do a stream. I want people to know what they're getting into. I want to put it out there that this is going to be the best event in Vegas. I also want people to be excited about 21 Media. It sounds interesting. I'm liking the direction it's going. I'm excited to see what the content looks like when it ships. And
Appreciate it.
it's and we're gonna have a good time. So hopefully, yeah, we're not out here. We don't have the same resources that PodConf has. We don't have a cabal of influencers promoting a modern narrative to kind of get behind us on this one. But if you got friends, tell your friends about the event if they're going to Vegas. Tell them about Satirize the System. Uh, bring a pack of cigarettes. I'll be signing packs of cigarettes for people, and uh, it's going to be a blast.
Incredible. Can't wait. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. I apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning of the stream, and hopefully the rest of the stream worked out pretty good. It looks like we were approaching. Let's see, how many people did we have watching? It was like 350 the last time I checked. It was pretty 360. But yeah, thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you. We'll probably be doing more streams, or at least I'll be doing more streams on various things. But yeah, hope you have a good Friday night with your family, and go get a nice dinner. Go have sex with your wife. If you're having trouble having sex, just think of Dennis Porter, and we'll catch you on the next one.